Aloha. Really quick recap. When we're doing our 808 beat, we're going to be having 1, E, and That's going to keep pretty consistent. We're going to be putting our bass on the 1 and the 4. The next measure on the 1, E, and so the third beat of that 16th. 1, E, and We're going to have the fourth one go 1, E, and which means we're going to be playing an eighth note here on our kick drum. The whole thing for the last roundup is not going to use the kick at all because we're going to leave a little bit of silence. So when we do our right, left, right, we get a triplet, triplet. Now, two-handed, you would do right, left, right. I'm just going to do the one thing for a triplet. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and triplet. That's the first route of learning this groove, but just doing 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and if you want to accent that 1 E and a 2 E and a 3, that's fine, but that takes a little bit more wrist work. What we're really looking for is the fingies here. What we also have at the end there is we have a snare going on the 2 and going on the 4. So no bass drum. We would just have 1 E and 3 E and 4 E and And when all those go together, we have a 1 E and 2. Ooh, I missed it. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. That whole thing repeats over and over again. I'm going to send you a link to somebody with two hands doing this. She explains it very well. I would also say that when we're doing the, let's say the cha-cha, the concept behind that is to do the walking movement or the shuffle. I call it a bluegrass shuffle because that's essentially what we've been talking about. 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and. It's also known as an eighth note shuffle, but let's just keep it as a walking because that seems to be a field norm. When we do this, we're going to have our ride going with right hand only. Now, I know it's a little bit up high. Generally, you want a good extension on here. However, the gets where it's at. 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be matched up with your 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to be playing a right kick, left hi-hat, right kick, left hi-hat, while syncing that. So go super slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we get the ride and our feet walking back and forth like this, the concept is to get a little bit comfortable in this, right? As soon as we're feeling comfortable, we're gonna have our 1, E, and if we're gonna count this as just ones, we'd have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Now obviously the rides will keep going over the whole thing if you had the other hand. You would be playing that snare with your snare hand, the left hand. So what it would have over the top would be the walking feet, and you would have your left hand going 1, 2, 3, 4 and 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 1, 2, 3, left hand 1, quarter, eighth note, or half note, eighth note, half note, eighth note. Now this is with the left hand, bear in mind. I hope the camera angle is working for you. And then over the top of that, your right arm would keep. So this groove encourages your feet to work together with your right arm, and then your left hand to be independent to play 2, 4 and 2, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I love this beat. I put it over a lot of stuff. The idea is when you get it going fast. I use it also as a fill between on 4/4 rock and roll grooves, which feels counter to what we generally do. The other things we worked on were making sure that when we do our buzz roll, it's not quite the same as just letting our hand bounce up and down off of the item. What we really want to get there is to put a little push down. I allow it to push back my fingers a little bit as we talked about, but you can do it a multitude of ways, which will show on the stool, on the dampening pad, and just right here on here. So if we want to have that walking roll, you're going to find your balance between just your single strokes doing it with your wrist letting it bounce on its own, and then being able to put a little pressure down so you could elongate that roll. And you'll find your own perfect point. You'll find your own perfect point of putting pressure down. The idea is to find it on your own. Your fingers will let you know when you have it. You can do it a multitude of ways with your wrist for that, or you could also do it with your fingers. So this is a finger work and a wrist work accent for the buzz rolls. Remember, you want the long balance, long roll. And then as far as the other one, the cross stick, just take the stick, put the tip right here, your head, right into the rim of your snare, and then with your other hand, you put it over the top of the snare. The idea is to have the fat stick going this way, and you use the snare to get a different type of sound. The snare is going to come up, and then it's going to violently smack the side of your metal rim. What you want to do after you do this a couple hundred times is find the position that sounds the best to you, and then you put a little X where you think that is on your stick and then on the snare. You work to find that place every time when you do the snap, and then you work at different places to get different sounds than that. What happens is you get really accustomed to hearing your snare, getting the different tones. And then the only other thing I wanted to do is think about one piece at a time and work on accents with quarters, whole notes, eighth notes, 16th notes. So with whole notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. This is where the stick work on the stool and your practice pad, 1 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. This is wrist work, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. How many bounces can you get after that first one, which is very powerful, for it to bounce back and have the same veracity and attack? You have to put a little effort into it, but not the first one. Hardly any on the second one, a little bit more on the third one, and then a little less on the fourth one from the rebound. So what you do is you learn how to use the least amount of energy as you can and get the desired sound of like. Really enjoy seeing you today. Aloha. See you next week.